Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. We want to let you know that we have once again been honored with a nomination for the Hockey Podcast of the Year via the Sports Podcasting Awards. And all you need to do to help us is go to ourkidsplayhockey.com and click on the Vote Now button. It asks you a couple questions. You're in and you're out, and you have voted for us for Hockey Podcast of the Year. I want to thank you all for being a wonderful, wonderful audience and helping us get to this stature of hockey podcasting, because we've done it as a family, as the hockey friends and families around the world. Thanks so much and enjoy this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. What's up, everybody? We had a really lively discussion this week on Our Kids Play Hockey, all about team uniforms and team sandals and team hats and team jackets and team apparel and how much money people spend a year. And we actually had a conversation about whether or not it's really appropriate at the youth levels of hockey and even some of the upper levels of hockey. And this was spawned by an article that came out last week about the Arizona Coyotes laxing on their dress code for the season. So we had a really great, lively discussion, as I said. We want to hear what your thoughts are. So make sure you like, subscribe, wherever you hear this podcast, and make sure you tell your friends about it. Our network is growing fast, and we really appreciate you guys. You're just really making this special for all of us. And always got to let you know, the podcast is sponsored by Hockey Wraparound. You can head over to hockeywraparound.com and use the code OKPH for 20% off your order. Again, they make the top-selling #1 off-ice blade protector in hockey, so your kids will use their ice hockey sticks safely outside without damaging the blade. They've also introduced recently the dry stick, which is some equipment hangers that hang on the stick, so you can dry your equipment in small spaces. It's pretty genius. Check it out. Again, hockeywraparound.com, 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 using the code OKPH for 20% off your order. With that said, enjoy this episode and let us know what you think. Are you on Mike's team? Are you on Christy's team? Are you on my team when it comes to team apparel and hockey? Enjoy the episode. Hello, hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome to another edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. I'm Lee Elias, that's Michael Bonelli, and Christy Casciano Burns. We got a really interesting topic today. This is a little bit one of the off-the-wall ones we weren't expecting to come up, but it kind of did. So the Arizona Coyotes, NHL team, recently mentioned in an article that they were going to relax their dress code properness before a game, right? So players coming in there now do not have to wear a shirt and tie, a suit. They can come in casually. This was born actually in the bubble during the pandemic where there was no dress code. And I guess the players kind of enjoyed that, right? NHL players are very professional to begin with. So this is going to keep them a little more comfortable coming into the rink. And it kind of grew the question in our minds when it comes to youth hockey is, are we commercializing #1, or are we taking it too seriously when it comes to suits, ties, matching bags, matching hats, matching everything. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not so sure the three of us are going to be on the same page with this, which means this is going to be like a battle royale episode. So you have to listen. By the way, I have to say this. If you're loving this stuff, please subscribe, please like, tell other hockey parents about it. This show has grown immensely since we started, and we appreciate every single one of you that are listening to this. We can't believe it. We just found out last weekend that this show has been listened to on literally every continent on Earth except Antarctica. And I made the joke, good luck in Antarctica for any podcast. They probably listen to Joe Rogan down there. But anyway, thank you so much for the support. But let's jump into it. Mike, I want to start with you because you were the one who kind of saw this idea and born the question, right? So what are your thoughts on this from obviously an NHL level, and then we'll break it down.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the NHL, I mean, here, and I think that's why the subject comes up, right? Because we're always talking about, are we professionalizing youth sports, in our case, hockey, too early for kids that, don't need to replicate what the New York Rangers or the Philadelphia Flyers and Montreal Canadiens are doing. And I think when you hear the professional athletes talking, the NBA, the NFL, and players, having their own brands now, right, and having their own ability to express themselves in a way where the type of clothes they wear and dress in and feel comfortable in, kind of gives them an opportunity to prepare for the game, right? Because their comfort level, it goes up. They're more comfortable. Imagine, I mean, I think, we're getting 9-year-olds stressed out about, if they're wearing the right jacket and tie to a game. And I do understand the piece of it, of why we do it, but I think it's I think it's a good debate for all of us to have, whether or not it's needed, and if there's other ways other than the dress code that we can institutionalize that that level of, commitment and being ready and focused and things like that. I think the NHL is seeing, well, you can show up in shorts. And I mean, I think even a couple of years ago, I remember Chara riding his bike, like to all his home games, right? He would ride his, 12 speed to all these home games. Right. Imagine that. I mean, this guy's in shorts and a t-shirt and ride to a game. So I think it's a great conversation to have with youth hockey coaches and parents, because it does add a lot of stress in the game day routine for a youth hockey player, I think.
Well, I'm a Catholic schoolgirl, so I grew up with uniforms.
Let the battle begin. No, just go ahead. Go ahead, Christy.
I think there's a way you can do it in a very affordable way. For example, my son's team, I'll go way back. When we played Lake Placid, that's our first big tournament that drew in teams from all over. Our kids just wore whatever as they walked into the rink together. And they were a little sloppy looking compared to the other teams. I want to be honest with you. All the other teams had a special look, jacket, sweatshirt, they all matched. And they walked in organized and your head just turned. You know what I mean? You look at them and you're like, wow, they felt unity, they looked united. They looked classy. And we walked in there like, well, those kids from Syracuse, New York, right? Kind of ragtag and sloppy looking, and they were goofing around. There was something to be said for just the look of a team that's all dressed the same. You don't have to spend a lot of money doing this. Walking in together, looking really sharp and just professional. And these are little kids, but they look perfect. They got it together.
Yeah, but they don't need to be professional. They're kids. They're little children. I mean, I don't know. It's so. And this was the debate, right? This came back and forth. All weekend going, and I'm experiencing right now. My 14U team. Hey guys, if you can wear your team gear like a sweatshirt, great. But the same kids we asking to professionalize and come in, they spit on the floor in the locker room. They leave their tape all over the place. They can't hit the toilet. I mean, these are little children, right? That we're and I think that's what triggers me. The professional, like they look like professionals, they feel like professionals, but they shouldn't. They're 8, they're 9 years old. And I do, because like your daughter's in college, right? When they get on a bus for 8 hours to go to a game, do we want them in Sunday dress, or do we want them in your team sweatsuit or sweat clothes and comfort? And I think
they all wore their team sweats this weekend.
Right. Because imagine, yeah.
Right. But when they walk into the rink for their dress, they look great. They look wonderful. And I love that. And like I said, you don't have to spend a lot of money. If you all pitch in for a sweatshirt and sweatpants that all match,
right?
I think that's cool, and that takes the stress off the kids too, because you know what to wear. You all wear the same thing. You buy it once. You don't have to spend a lot of money on clothes. One sweatshirt, pair of team sweatpants. You're all uniform. You're all together. You're all on the same page. You all look the same. You'll walk in. You're a team. No one is different. No one's wearing the fancy jacket. No one's wearing the high top sneaker.
Right, that's the military side, right? That's the private school side. I wore the same tie to high school for 4 years in a row. I mean, literally, I just take it off and hang it in my locker. I put it back on. It's the same tie all 4 years. But
I loved it because my kids went to Catholic school too. There was no fighting about what you had to wear, and everyone looked the same. There was no pressure on, so-and-so's got this and I have to buy this. And I had extra money in my pocket. It was wonderful.
So allow me to chime in now that you guys are done fighting. You're not really fighting, just for the people.
Gonna get you, Benelli.
I think like most things in youth hockey, and again, I could equate this back up to pro too, is I think we often, I'm not saying you two, but we often ask the wrong questions. We're taking the adult parent's point of view on this. And like most times, we're not thinking beyond the what into the why, right? And what I'm going to explore here is the why uniformed dress could be important or valuable to a team, not what it costs, which is, I'll put this out here right now. I don't think anybody should be spending a ridiculous amount of money on a uniform to walk into a locker room. All right. I'm all for unified dress. So like you said, Christy, like, when I was coaching, we had warm up suits for away games. If it was a home game, I think we made the guys dress up in suits for college and pro. All right. But to me, as long as it's a uniform dress, I think it is important. But here's why, right? Too often we tell kids, we get the jacket, you look like a pro, like you said, Mike, and you get all this great stuff that means you're on the team. That's not really the point of it, right? The point of it is you are a team and you are coming in unified, right? So my attitude is this: we don't explain that enough. Like we always equate it back to the NHL guys do this, and not we're gonna do this because this says that we're on the same team together, and then explain how important it is to be part of a team.
There you go. That's it. You nailed it.
We miss it.
End of discussion. You lost, Benelli.
Here's the thing. I think Mike will agree with this too. Like, but at the same time, Christy, I'm not for suit jackets, ties, button-down shirts, long khaki pants, and nice shoes all the time. All right. Like, I think there are situations. Now, look, let's just talk about the NHL for a minute. I think it's important. If I was explaining this to my son or my daughter, right? But, well, they're not wearing it. I go, but they are professionals. They show up on time. They put in the extra work. They've been doing this their entire lives. So, and again, I don't think they're going to be coming in sandals or anything like that, right? Again, this is a relaxed dress code. It's not no dress code. I think that's also important to say here, right? But they are professionals. They are going to work, right? They're going to make this happen. They're not just dressing up for the hell of it, right? So again, going back to the why, I'm going to show you guys a little extra. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of something I've been doing lately. So I've been saying this. I've been doing team building with my son's 8U team. By the way, they're doing phenomenal with it. People had told me you'll never do that with an 8U team successfully. They're better at it than the adults, right? They're real receptive. They haven't been beaten up by life yet. But I'm going to share with you guys a little drill I did with them. And for the listeners at home, if you're listening to this, I'll try my best to explain it. But this is probably an episode you're going to want to see. All right. But I wanted to give some meaning to the hockey jersey, right? Because when they're on the ice, they're all uniformed in the same jersey, right? And I don't think like this simple piece of apparel, right? The jersey your kids wear, there's so much on this that can be used as a life lesson. Now, I am one of those people that I prefer, and again, in 8U, I don't mandate this, but I prefer it's on a hanger and treated with respect. And what I did with the kids,
I agree.
Yeah, I sat down with the kids and I discussed the jersey with them. Again, something that never happened before for them. And I said, okay, let's look at this. Let's really look at your hockey jersey.
I want you to walk us through it.
Yeah, I want to look at your hockey jersey and what it represents. So for those of you listening, I'm holding up my son's maroon Haverford Hawks jersey. That's where he plays. All right. And I'm showing it forward. And I said to the kid on the front, the kids, I said, what is this on the front of the jersey? Right. And they said, it's our logo. It's our team. Right. I said, yeah, it's called, and I explained it to them. I said, this is the crest and that is your team. The priority is the team. That's why it's on the front. Remember that team. I said, what is it? They go, team, right? They started repeating it. Then I flipped the jersey around like I'm doing right now. On the back of the jersey, kids, you have a number. Every one of you has a different number. That's your teammates. You are a teammate to other kids on the team. You all have your own number. And then you have your nameplate. That is yourself. Team, teammates, self. That is how we prioritize. Your hockey jersey represents everything that we stand for. Suddenly, I've just turned this thing that people throw in their bags into a really important part of their day in terms of hockey. Now this means something. This represents everything we stand for as a group, as a unity. And let me tell you something, guys, they got it. And one of the cool things was the head coach, who's a great head coach. I told the kids, I always fortify these lessons with some physical activity just to kind of glue it together. And I had them do very quickly the unison jumping jacks. So I made it so they could get all in sync for 5 jumping jacks, which took a few tries, by the way. Right. And I said, you have to earn your jerseys back. Right. So I took all their jerseys before we started. I said, now you have to earn it back. You're going to earn the right to have your jersey. Right. And they loved this. It was a challenge. And what happened was they all earned it. They went to the head coach, and the head coach, unprompted, every kid who came up to him, what does this front stand for? What does the number stand for? What does the name stand for? And they all had to say it before they got their jersey back. Right. This was a 20-minute exercise. Right. So we're all uniformed in hockey jerseys most of the time. But what we did was we created meaning. We created value. We created the understanding of why we all wear the same jersey and what it represents. So if we're going to do this with a dress code, you know, a team jacket, make the team jacket mean something more than just having a team jacket. right? I remember growing up, and when I played for the little Flyers, and like we all wanted, and I'm going to preface this, like there's nothing wrong with this because this is just typical teenager stuff, but I wanted the jacket to show off I was on the team. I wanted to wear it and tell everybody I was on the team. I was proud to be on the team, right? Little pompous about it, to be perfectly honest with you, because it was a big deal if you played for the little Flyers when I was growing up, all right? What I wish looking back was someone had enabled that even further. Like, yes, you earned the right to wear that jacket. It's a big part to be part of this organization. And when you wear that jacket, wear it with pride and tell people that you're part of this organization. Nobody told that to me. I was just so cool because I had the jacket on. So I think that if you're going to do unified dress, take 20 minutes. That's it. And explain the importance of why. All right. Last thing I'll say, Christy, I'll throw it back to you guys. I remember the moment growing up, the first time I saw a team fully in team garb, and it was intimidating. I mean, I remember it was like, wow, that team looks, and they were good, right?
Yeah.
So there is an equilibrium between unified dress, how you prepare as a team, being unified. And then there's also the cost. And that's where people lose me. Like nobody should be spending $200, $300 on team garb. I mean, I just it's just insane to me. Like if you have to pay that much, it should be given to you. Right.
Yeah.
But I want to throw it back to you guys. That's just one of many like identity type things I do, but you have to enable it if you're going to do it with the why. And I just don't think we do that in drills enough. I don't think we do that in clothing enough. I don't think we do that in a lot of things enough.
I agree. And I hope coaches listening to you right now follow your lead. So many kids don't understand the meaning behind even the history of their hockey rink. Just take a few minutes to explain that to them. Right. This is a really special place. And these are the players who came before you. This logo means this. You put your jersey on a hanger because you need to respect being on the team and you're part of a team. All of those things are really important. I think it helps bond a team. It helps make it more special for why they're a part of this. And when they wear that jacket with their logo on it, they get it. Sorry. Dookie liked that comment.
Your dog agrees with you. Your dog is agreeing.
I'm going to mute myself. Mike, you jump in.
Save the day, Mike. Go for it.
Yeah. No, I think that's where, but this is the line, the line of saying, I understand we want to teach team, we want to be unified, but I'll tell you, I'm being in the youth hockey world for 30 years. It is getting crazier and crazier and crazier. When you used to see a team, listen, I had when I was my first foray into hockey directing, every kid, jacket, tie, parents, you got to go out, these sneakers, you can't have sneakers on, you got to have shoes on, you can't wear your hat on backwards, no hats. And then even me, when I was coaching in high school and prep school, college, suit and tie and my cashmere sweater and my overcoat that was, in every youth hockey rink in the world getting ruined and having crazy dry cleaning bills for no reason at all because I was coaching a hockey game. I mean, but all these coaches fall into this, like, oh, I'm wearing a shirt and tie because I'm a professional. Well, you're not a professional. You just literally screamed and yelled at an official for 15 minutes like a lunatic in a shirt and tie. You're not professional. And I think, what we do is we put this pressure on the kids to feel like little professionals. And I agree with the fact that there are ways to do the team building and feeling that you're on the same team and respecting the crest and respecting your teammates and yourself. Much more better ways to do it than a shirt and a tie. But I do think that that's where the line starts getting drawn. If I told my kids, oh, everybody's got to wear a team sweatshirt and team sweatpants and you show up to the game and you look good, right? And then the next step is team sweatshirt, team sweatpants, team hat, and you also have to have a hanger bag with your jerseys in it. Oh, and now you have to have a team overnight bag, and now you have to have a team, sneakers, and now you have to have team, blankets. Yeah. It gets to a point where we are just, that professionalization of youth sports just starts filtering down. And I think maybe we could professionalize youth sports more by actually teaching them how to play rather than worry about all the fluff. But I'm 100% on to the team building portions of these things. And the fact that you want kids to be unified and show up to practice and games prepared to play. And I my own personal opinion is I do think it puts the kids in a different mental state when they come into a rink and they feel like they're more unified. But I don't know if at 10 years old we should be doing that. I don't think the success of a team at 10 because they were more professionalized. I don't know long term if that's better.
Right.
But I get it that it helps you win the game. It's just like coaches that have systems at the youth level, right? Maybe you have a system at 9 and 10 years old. You make the kids go into certain areas of the ice for success. But is that better? I don't know if it's better. You win, but is it better? Is it better for the kids? Is it better for their development? So I like the fact that kids can be kids and children can be children. And we can get to the point where we're starting to teach these life lessons without mandating stuff and without putting undue cost associated with it. And maybe it's for youth hockey programs that are, I've always debated even the level because, say, oh, what's good for high level teams? Well, your kid's not going to get high level until he's doing those things. So I'm like, okay, well, I get all that. But I don't know. I used to be crazy about it. No doubt. Listen, there's no doubt. I mean, I used to kick kids out of my locker room if they had a piece of, a t-shirt in there that wasn't my program's t-shirt. If you showed up with some power skating classes t-shirt in the bottom of your bag, I'd literally, your equipment would be in the parking lot.
And why was that? Why did you do that?
Because I was a lunatic. Because I think it's because I would say you are on my team. You're coming in, you're on my program. I don't care about that guy's program. I don't care about that person's program. That spring clinic you did, last year, that's not with me. Get it out of your bag. Nothing in this bag.
So what made you a softie now?
Because I think we could do it and still win. I'm losing my
What
mind.
changed? I'm just
I can tell you what changed.
At what point did you change?
I can tell you what changed.
This is ridiculous.
Mike, I can tell you what changed because I study this. Is that, and again, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it was you let go of the ego a little bit. There was an ego there for a while, which a lot of coaches have. Nothing wrong with that. It's a winning mentality. But I think you realize, I don't need to identify with this to be a successful coach, right? You relaxed on the ego a little bit, or I should say maybe you even rid yourself of the ego, right? It wasn't about that, right? It came down to more of what are you trying to accomplish and what is about the kids? Because Mike, you're a very kid first coach, right? And again, look, all coaches, myself included, we go through what's that process of a butterfly, right? You start one thing, you turn to other things. Like me, I was a complete micromanager as a younger coach, and extremely intense, and it was a flaw. And I had to learn to delegate and trust other people. I think I said this on another show once. I demanded trust, but I wasn't willing to trust anybody else. That's not a good recipe. You know what I mean?
No, listen, I think it got to the point where I'm like, this 10-year-old team, this was the highlight of their hockey career.
Right.
That's not right.
Right.
That was we won and we did this. But that was the highlight of your life was this year because we were professionalized and structured I do listen. If you asked me in a clean slate environment, when you come in, if you could make it a part of the program, these parents are spending countless dollars on programs, and then to add other expenses in,
right,
that don't need to be there. Now, if you could take like I say it all the time, give me one tournament weekend back, parents, and I'm going to have $16,000 in my pocket. One tournament weekend. Think about this. You go to one less tournament as a team, and you take that. Do the math, 16 grand, and you say, we're going to put that now. We're going to make sure our kids have matching t-shirts, matching bags. So when they're at home and they take a shower, they brush their teeth, and they go to game day,
right,
they're now into game day. And I 100% buy into that. 100% that you can't walk into the rink not being prepared to play at any level. And then but I think what happens is we use the terms like, you got to get serious. And we forget that there's fun involved. And we say, you can have fun. I hear it all. I hear coaches, I hear them in the other locker rooms. You want to have fun? After you win, you go have fun.
Yeah, that's not right.
I'm like, are you crazy? Like, is this
this
what
is
we're doing?
supposed to be fun. You know,
Yeah,
like Mike,
it
let
is
me turn this a little
But
bit, guys.
I have to also say that when, I'll go back to when Sophia was 8 and this coach loved the look of a uniform. And we bought team jackets with their numbers on it, her last name, just like her jersey, and, team pants that matched as well. She wore that everywhere. She wore it to school, she wore it to the mall because she was just so proud that she was part of this team. She got a lot of use out of that. It actually saved me some money because I didn't have to spend as much money on clothes because she just wore that everywhere.
Let me turn the conversation a little bit, guys, because like here's the deal. We're talking about two different things and we haven't said it yet. All right. So first off, Mike, going back to one of your points, there's a difference between the professionalization of a team and the commercialization of a team. Those are two different things. Professionalism to me is that everyone is representing the team some way, whether it's unified or, like you said, sweatshirt, hoodie, something, right? Commercialization is, hey, we can get you Reeboks with your name on them and numbers, and everyone has to have them. That's someone trying to make some money. All right. There's levels to this stuff. Again, even at the NHL level, they don't all wear the same suit. All right. You know what I mean? Like there's some stuff there. So professionalism versus commercialization. But more importantly, I think the key to this episode is that you have to set standards. That's the word we haven't used yet, right? Teams should have standards, all teams, right? And a standard at a 8U team could just be, you got to work hard. That's the standard. We have a very high work ethic here. When you get up to a top level 18U AAA team, there's multiple standards, right? You need to be presentable when you walk in the rink. Presentable can be defined a lot of different ways. I'll tell you right now, if I'm coaching a very high level team, I do not want you in flip-flop shorts and a t-shirt. All right. I personally don't. Okay. Now at the professional level, like the NHL level, actually, let me just use the NBA as an example. All right. Dennis Rodman's a great example. He came in wearing his pajamas every game, but he's also Dennis Rodman. All right. And Phil Jackson understood that he needed to do that to play the level, but he's Dennis Rodman. He's the greatest rebounder in the history of the NBA. And that's what he needed to be comfortable. So that's a different conversation. Right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say with this?
Yeah, but Austin Matthews in that article, he's saying the same thing. He's like, I wish this dress code was relaxed. Right. I hate this. Like, I want to wear my brand.
He's Austin Matthews. Like coaches and parents have to separate a little bit. Like, he's put the time in, he's put the work in, and his standard is to play as hard as he possibly can every single game. Right? My point to you is at that level, what Austin Matthews wears to the arena is not affecting how he plays. And I think that we're assuming, or not us, I mean, players assume that if I don't wear this, I might not perform as well. And that just doesn't make sense to me, right? Again, it's about standards as a coach. All right. The standard is be presentable. You don't have to wear a suit, but you maybe it is a team jacket, right? I don't have a problem with team jackets. If we don't have matching team jackets, please do not show up looking like trash. Just show up ready to go. All right. And again, look, every coach out there, every parent out there, you have to set those standards for your team. Okay. That's not for us to tell you how to set your standards, but you got to have standards. I can tell you right now, a team without standards is not going to do much. All right.
Agreed.
I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the commercialization, I agree with you there. That's not acceptable, but
right. Well,
the professionalism, a little taste of that, I think that's good for the kids.
Yeah. I agree with that too. All right. Like, I think there's something too about, and Mike, I'd love your thoughts on this. Like, so one of the reasons I like some form of uniform dress or just presentable dress is that I think it, at least I could say this for me. Like, if I didn't have that as a kid, I was definitely just rolling out of bed and going to the rink, right? When I had to get dressed, and again, this is everything from a suit. I had to wear suits at points of my time playing, down to just a team uniform. It gave me that extra kind of 10, 15 minutes of just, okay, I got to get dressed. I got to mentally kind of, it was like a warm up for me in sense of mental. Like, you got to be ready to go, like to get ready to go. And yes, 9.5 out of 10 times I was rushing to get it on, but it got me in that mindset. Right. I think if you go to a rink in pajamas, you're going to have a mindset of someone in pajamas.
I agree.
I could be wrong. Look, every person.
I disagree. I disagree. I think it's the player. It's your responsibility as a coach, right? But as the players too, if that's the standard that you allow that player to be prepared,
Right.
Yes. But I agree with you. Most children, it's very difficult for them to prepare if they're not thinking about preparation, right? So you can't just go and say, I'm ready for the game. Are you though ready for the game? Right. You were just watching TikTok videos for a half hour in the car. I said, are you ready for hockey? And I said it all the time. Like we do a lot of, and I think, even me living in this youth hockey world now, outside of coaching in college and prep school and high school, where you have
and
more,
pro, Mike, you have also coached pro hockey.
Right. But you have more control over that piece, because to your point about Austin Matthews and the Coyotes and the NBA and Dennis Rodman, they've already put themselves in a place where they're mentally prepared. Right. Austin Matthews could show up if he feels better showing up in pajamas.
Right.
He's already established how to prepare.
Right.
I don't know.
How did he get to that point?
That's and to Christy's point, I think dress codes and things like that help children prepare. But what I guess my argument is, when a coach is demanding kids show up in a jacket and tie, and then he's on the bench in cargo shorts and sandals, I'm like, I said, are you nuts?
That's that's not a standard, right? That's just an
expectation at that point. But he's demanding the standard out of the player. And I think, and then at the youth hockey level, and this is just my experience, you have to pick and choose your battles. Is your battle going to be, I'm sitting the two kids that didn't show up in a shirt and tie today? Or am I sitting the two kids that decide to express themselves in a different way and wear shorts when I told them they're not allowed to wear shorts?
Again, standards. This is what I'm saying with standards.
Yeah, don't you want to set expectations at the beginning of the season? Say, hey, look, and Dookie's having a rough day, so he just thought we
have a dog set. For those of you listening, a dog has been set on the show. I told you, this is one you're going to want to watch.
This is Duke, and he loves hockey. He's a huge hockey fan.
Duke is a beautiful. What breed is that, Chris?
Karen Terrier, just like Toto. Beautiful. So if you a Wizard of Oz fan, there's your Toto.
Looks like Toto.
I think in the beginning of the season, you set your standards, Mike. You say, hey, kids, we want everybody to show up, team jackets, team sweat, or black pants, set a code for game days. We want you to look professional. We want you to come ready. We want you to, have a certain mentality. We want you to be focused, get off your devices, do your team warm-ups. I think that's all part of being having the right culture too, which we've talked about so much.
Well, let me say this too, guys. Like, this is something I've been thinking about. And again, I'm at that age as a parent where I'm starting to reflect on my own parents, myself, and then my kid, like back and forth up the chain. And it's like, we've all experienced this. How many times have I had to tell you, or like, telling my son the same messages all the time? And I'm realizing now as a parent, I try and look at it from my dad and my mom's point of view of this. Is like, it's frustrating, but I realized my parents probably had to tell me this stuff maybe 100, 200, 300 times before it clicked when I was older that I need to set the standard. Now, some of those things can be good in terms of professionalism, shaking hands, which you can't do anymore. But like, working hard.
Fist bumps.
How about just the standard of hard work, makes results? I had to be told that a lot. I'm telling my son that a lot. Now, at the same time, there's also a negative side to this where you can transfer horrible family patterns down to your child too by telling them the same thing over and over and over again. But my point is that, like, it's a process. It's the same reason why in school, they'll teach you the same part of American or world history 4 or 5 or 6 times before you graduate, because they want to reiterate it and dive it in. So, look, again, every coach has to do this to their own ability. Mike, to your point, one of the things I do when I work with coaches is you cannot set a different standard for yourself than for the team. You talk about the guy in the cargo shorts when the team's dressed. If the team is in suits, the coach needs to be in suits. If the team's in warm-ups, the coach should be in warm-ups. You do not operate on a second set of rules because you're a coach. I can tell you right now, and I have done extensive work on this, the biggest threat to a team bond or a team in general is typically the coach by not following their own rules. Okay. You as a coaching staff cannot live by a separate set of rules than your players when it comes to standards. All right. Because you're poo-pooing on your own standards.
All right? But I think we also have to step back and say, well, why do professionals, why does Bill Belichick wear a sweatshirt that's cut off? Like, you're like, oh my, remember when that first happened? It was like blasphemy.
Right.
It was like, you gotta be, this is the most, like a person that has no care in the world, has zero discipline. He's probably the most disciplined person in the world.
Easily.
Right.
Yeah.
And say, listen, I'm going to be comfortable. and I'm still focused. So I've earned another one. I've earned the right
yes,
to do this and be comfortable. And listen, maybe there is the chicken before the egg. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's hey, dress for success and you're going to follow, or now that you're a winning team, we're going to up it. I don't know. I've seen tons of losing teams that look great when they show up to the rink, and they're losing 15-1.
Again, Mike, it goes back to the why. Right? I want to keep coming back to this because there's life lessons here too, right? Like I said, I am not for $400 team uniforms. I don't understand that. That's just a money grab and a half. But you have to explain why we're dressed together. I remember, I think I talked about this on an episode a long time ago. I played a team once when I was a bantam, and they were incredibly well dressed. It was their first year in the league. We killed them. And then I think I said this, they fed us food afterwards, incredibly professional. Right. Yeah. And the thing is they were setting a foundation for the future. And that's what I realized. Those kids really understood why they needed to do that year to set a foundation for the future of their program, which I believe still exists today. Right. So again, look, it's a juggling game, right? It's why are you doing this? Are you just doing it so your kid can say they play on the team? Coaches, are you just doing this because it's what you're supposed to do? Right. Why? I'm going to do it again. Why do we wear this jersey every game? Why? Why is our name on it? Why is there a number on it? All right. I've never heard people explain that to their team before, right? You hear it in movies, the name on the front's more important than the name on the back, which is true. Team, teammates, self. You have a lot in just a jersey you can explain. So if you're going to wear a team jacket, I always love this story. Coaches, you can use this. So we love giving tips and tactics here. Little known story. I'll put it out to you guys. All right. Gordie Howe, rookie year, NHL. Do you know what his team signing bonus was?
I have no idea.
$500.
Is the dog? No, 500. Mike says $500. Christy says no idea. The dog's not speaking to me right now. All right. He got a team jacket. That was his signing bonus. He got a Detroit Red Wings team jacket.
Yeah,
That's
I remember that.
That's it. And the thing is, like, if you ever hear him talk about that, jacket meant more to him than anything, right?
Right.
Keep in mind, this is a time period where players were getting less than like $25,000 a year. All right, which was a lot of money back then. But my point is, like, that meant something to him. There was a why there, right? That jacket represented more than just a team jacket, right? So coaches, you gotta explain to the team why they're doing it. And then here's the other thing too. Maybe a little listening is in order. All right. If a bunch of players came up to me and say, we don't want to wear suits every game, I would actually listen to that. What do you want to wear? You need to be presentable. I have a standard. You can't show up in crap. All right. But you need to be presentable. And if you all want to show up in shorts and t-shirts, the performance better be there. I'd be willing to do that at an older age. The performance has to be there. If you show up and you're not playing at a higher standard, I'm not doing it. But these are the conversations that need to take place. And again, Mike, I think we have to go back to it again, the commercialization versus professionalization of an organization, right? Keep in mind, guys, look, let's just be really blunt. If your team has an embroiderer in the arena, that's why you have team matching uniforms. It's a lot of money. All right. And I don't want to, I'm not knocking embroidery shops or rinks. You have to make money too. And I get it. All right. But do they need all that stuff?
No, and listen, I'm in the business of that. I mean, geez, I want everybody to wear, the team brand but it gets, when you're in it, I think we forget that it's just another $150, $80, $100, $125. You're in. I'd love to hear from parents, but there's 0 youth hockey programs right now that your son or daughter you're not forking over $600 a season for gear, for not hockey gear. That's more than my whole youth hockey a year was when I played. $600. So what I'm saying is, I agree with you that we have to, that maybe, and the standard is, I mean, listen, are you telling me that every kid can't own a collared shirt and a pair of khaki pants? I mean, that argument, I think, flies out the window. If you're going to tell me that there's 0, I'm not going to buy nice clothes for my kid because of the expense, I don't know.
They should have that anyway.
You could come up with an idea. And listen, as we're doing this episode right now, I mean, I have fights with my own kids. Like we want to wear a shirt and tie. We look at the team, look at them. They're coming in, they look this way. So I don't know. It's just what's the priority and when are you going to institute that? And then when does that become more important than something else that you're trying to do with your team?
And set the standard.
Right.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm on the same page with you there, Mike. Yeah. So we've come to terms. I'm glad we made up.
All
We're
right.
fighting there.
I think I'm going to end it there.
Well, and like I said, I just like the fact that and I guess that, I grew up in that, like, I wanted the rigidity. I want the uniform. I want everybody to have the same exact hockey bag across the board. Mm-hmm. But now as not only as a parent, but now coaching, and maybe I'm jaded. Maybe it's because I'm around programs that have so many different kids that come in and out that you see, like on most of these teams, you see them all lined up in the hallway, and there's 16 different bags for one team because these kids move around so much. And then it's, when are you going to say, no, that's the end of it. Everyone must get this bag. Well, whose bag? Who's selling the bag? Oh, me. And it's $180, and you have to buy. I just think it. I don't know. I just think that's.
Yeah, I'm not told that everybody having the same bag, but I do like a nice look for the team.
Yeah, but don't you think if your college team walked in, right? Your daughter's college team walked in and they had all their high school bags off the bus, you'd be like, what the hell is wrong with this?
Oh, no. Guys, I gotta tell you, I love the college swag. They have beautiful jackets and bags. And
right. But that's all paid for, right? The school pays for that though, right?
The school pays for it.
That's an important part of it. Like, if an organization's paying for it, that's a totally different discussion. Yeah. I mean, you can have at it if you're willing to pay for it. All right. But this is the deal. As a coach, I just want to inspire maximum performance from my athletes at any age. All right. And 9 times out of 10, maximum performance is just doing your best. All right. So if I'm in an older situation where a player says to me, this is very uncomfortable for me, right? I might even have a team discussion about it, but I want to inspire maximum performance. And if you can match the performance that I'm looking for, dressed a different way, I will listen to that. I'm not saying I will change it, but I will listen to that. When it comes down to youth hockey with bags and stuff, like, again, I think there needs to be some unification, understanding of the why we dress together or why we wear the same hockey jersey. It all starts with that jersey. That's the one thing that everyone has to wear, right? I'm not a big fan of mismatched socks and wearing the wrong things on game day, barring someone didn't forget something in their bag, which is a common occurrence at the youth ages. All right. That's where it starts. You all wear the same jersey. All right. Maybe you take it. Now we all have the same hat, right? I think a unification piece of some sort is important, but you don't have to break the bank to do it. Right. Right. And
there's a sense of pride there too. The kids are very proud to represent their team.
Look, I still have my team jackets in the closet next to me.
Listen.
They have all of their jackets.
When my players listen to this, and parents that played for me at the prep level and the high school level, they'll know, right? They'll go, this guy, what the hell is he talking about? Used to walk into the rink on the first day of practice, and there was 3 8-foot long tables sitting there, right? And each table had t-shirt, hat, workout shorts, team towel, bag, toiletry bag, everything else. And so everything was in there where the kid, and that was the gleaming and the pride and the swagger and feeling like, oh my God, I made this team. Right. I've earned this. And then the crazy coach is going to be at the end saying, okay, as you put all this stuff in your hockey bag, there's a garbage bag right here where you're throwing everything else out, or you put it in your car, or, there's nothing in here. Our colors were navy blue and white. There's 0 in here that's not navy blue and white. Listen, we won a lot of games. The kids won state championships and league championships. But I think it was how we went about it, building that standard, right? That's how we did it. I did it by doing that. Maybe I could have done it a different way. All I'm saying is I don't know if you need that for an 8-year-old.
But Mike, I want to say it again. The why there, you set a standard. You set a very clear standard of, this is the team you play for. We're going to respect this team. You've earned it. You said that you earned the right to wear this stuff. Maybe throwing stuff's out a little insane, Like I would definitely do like, I'd like to only see this stuff in your bag.
Well, I warned them. I gave them warnings, multiple warnings.
Mike, you set a really great standard there. You gave them the why. You gave them the why, though. This is my point.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm thinking about it. It's nuts.
You are a lunatic. Just admit it.
You're crazy.
Yeah, no. There's no doubt. But I tell you right now, the kids that did it, the kids that would know, like Coach Benelli, he's going to check your bag. You better not have that summer league. Don't have that summer league jersey in your bag. And matter of fact, between now and the time this episode airs, I will do this with my team. Because right now I don't have any. I have no standard.
See, so now, it worked.
Good. We won.
We did it.
We won.
We did it. I know. Now, listen, guys.
No, because my parents are going to be like, well, what the hell? How come we don't do this? How come you just, what do we, chop liver?
Right. We must have made a good point.
Again,
listen,
you don't have to spend a lot of money. I'll come to an agreement on what you want your kids to wear, and your kids are going to love it. They're going to wear that
I'm sending a bill to St. Michael's College for
for the next episode. I want all three of us in matching uniforms, by the way, for the episode. So I think if we all look.
Well, you laugh, but that's why you have branding, right? That's why you have. Listen, when I hire a new coach as a hockey director, that coach leaves that coach leaves the room with a hockey bag, with a sweatsuit, a jacket, a hat, T-shirt, workout gear, a whistle, lanyard that has the logo on it. You are now part of the team. You're embracing us. You're not going to be, you're not wearing the team down the streets sweatsuit.
That is a standard to me. Again, listen, if we're going to round this episode out, because I think we made some good points, and audience, listen, we really want to know what you think on this. We had a lot of people join our Facebook group over the last couple of weeks because the episodes keep growing. So definitely comment underneath the episodes here or on YouTube or wherever you're listening. But look, if we're rounding this out, again, we're finding there's a thread, get a thin thread. I'm making a little pun there thank you, Mike. I live to please. Between standards and just spending money, between commercialization versus professionalization. It's on each individual coach to set those standards. Again, standards are extremely important. If you leave anything with this episode, right? And how you choose to mentally, physically, aesthetically show those. Right? Like I'll give you a very quick example. I put our team logos on anything I give the team. If I give them a piece of paper with something messages on it, my logo's on it. If I give a playbook, my logo's on it. All right. To me, that's a standard. Okay. And that stuff's important to players. I don't care what anybody says. You give them a playbook, 15 different colors, and different people have different binders. What are we saying here? Right. So again, we all wear the same jersey on the ice. We all do. All right. We have the same standard of hard work. That's your starting point. It's on each team to decide where you want to go from there. And look, like Mike, you said this and Christy said this. If the kids all want team jackets, if that's what they all want, like together collectively, do it, right? If you can do it, do it. That's a great unification reason, but explain why and make sure it's not just an individualistic thing about, well, you get to just show it off, which, don't get me wrong, for the parents of the kids like that, they should be showing it off if they've earned the right to be on that team. But they should also be saying in the same breath, I really feel great to be part of this team. I really earn the right to be part of this team. We don't do that enough in our society anymore. It's all me, right? Which is part of growing up. Don't get me wrong. It starts with just teaching. I say this all the time with the 8-year-olds I'm coaching. They're the people that are going to have to save this planet. I'm not talking environment right now. All right. The kids we're coaching are the next generation. They're going to make the changes. As adults, we just babble and argue with each other all the time. And there's so much ego and there's not much change that takes place because we're just constantly doing this. Kids are moldable. I'm going to say this. I started the episode with this. The 8-year-olds I'm coaching are a lot better at some of these team building exercises than the adults. And they're receptive to it. They want it. Right. We get lost in our own mind. And I'm going to say this as a parent, as an adult. It's really hard to put yourself in the mindset of an 8-year-old. It's not easy. Are we talking more than we listen? Are we asking questions more than we're telling? Do we have a standard? Do we have dogs in our room? Christy does. If you've been listening to this episode,
there's something about this episode that's got him all riled up.
Well, he has something to say, and we're all going to have to hear it at some point.
I mean, how many of these episodes we've done, he's had no involvement at all. Now he wanted to jump in.
I didn't even know you had a dog. Welcome to Our Dogs Like Hockey. With
because he knows by he's not going to eat for a week because you have to buy a new sweatsuit.
That's right. It's
man.
coming out of your budget, dude.
There you go. Hey, listen, guys, any final thoughts before I close this out?
No, there's nothing wrong with getting together as a parent group, deciding what you want to do, how much you want to spend. And you'd be surprised how many parents have connections to, like you said, embroidery shops, team shops that can, give you a good discount on a nice uniform look if that's what you want to do. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. It could just be a sweatshirt and a pair of black pants,
right.
Or whatever color your team logo is. And maybe a hat, and that's your uniform. Walk in, you look great on game day. You're all together and you're ready to play. I love that uniform look. I'm just a big fan of it.
Coach Benelli. You look defeated, Mike. You look a little defeated.
Right? I am defeated. I will share a picture of the next episode of all my boys in matching sweatsuits at their next event. Guarantee it.
Well,
because I listen I think it's the person in me trying to be rational, saying, do I really want to send an email out to parents for another $290? I mean, they're paying $7,000, $6,000 to play hockey a year.
But do you have to do that to get them?
It doesn't have to be that much.
Well, have you been in a squad locker? I mean, listen, the bottom line is, no matter what you do, but Christy, I think the point though is, if you lay it out there and people want to do it, and people that can't do it, the other people will find a means to help.
Why don't you ask the parents or the kids what they want?
Yeah.
Before you have to make a call like that. I don't know. Like, you have to make that decision on.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's just in the world that I live in, it's all like, it's like, okay, we do want it. Okay, what do you want? And then it's like trying to go to dinner with 17 people. It's like,
I have a solution.
Make the decision. I get it. But I'm sold, and I'm converted.
Tell all of your parents that listen to this episode, subscribe and like, share it with 5 other people, and you're going to give away a free hat. All right. No, listen.
I will. I love it. I know. Again, I'm converted. I get it. I understand why we do it.
Standards. Set the standard.
Got to just bite the bullet.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I'm glad that this was therapy for you today, and now you're smiling. You're smiling now, so I feel like I've done my job. But look, this was a fun little debate. I'm going to say this again to the listening audience. I'm sure you have thoughts on this too, whether you agree or disagree. We want to hear from you either way. So make sure that you comment below the posts on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or Google or wherever, you can always email us at team@ourkidsplayhockey.com. But find us. Like, this show has grown so much, but we really want to make a community out of it. We're just 3 hockey parents with various experiences, and the truth is, there's millions of us out there. And we want to hear what you think. So that's going to do it for this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Just check us out at ourkidsplayhockey.com. Lots of episodes there, lots of quick tips for you, lots of great interviews coming up. And again, you can subscribe and like us wherever podcasts can be heard. For Christy Casciano Burns and her dog, Mike Benelli, I'm Lee Elias. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.